Coming up on Oakdale Update, we'll visit with our two new City Council members, Kevin Zabel and Mark Landis. We'll visit a new business in the city and we'll tell you about some upcoming events. Stay tuned, Oakdale Update is straight ahead. Hello, welcome to Oakdale Update. I'm your host, Frank Orsello. This is the City of Oakdale's news and information program about your community. This month, we're going to talk to our two newest City Council members. Later in the show, we'll meet Mark Landis. But first, I'm joined by Council Member Kevin Zabel. Kevin, welcome to Oakdale Update.
Well, thanks for having me, Frank.
Okay, let's start out. Now, you're the newest member that was elected, correct?
Yes, correct. I was elected in November, sworn in, the first meeting in January.
Okay, let's go back and I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself, your education, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I did my bachelor's in political science from the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul. Did that beginning in 2008, and then after that, I took a few years off before going back to get my master's through George Washington University in political management.
George Washington, D.C.?
In Washington, D.C., yeah.
How did you happen to pick that one?
In the world of political science, most graduate degrees are theoretical based, studying the theory behind political science. There are a few universities across the country that it's applied practice in politics, so actually learning the day-to-day operations of running campaigns, fundraising, and governing. And George Washington was one of the four in the country that had a program at the time.
Really? Is this because it's in Washington, D.C.? Does that have anything to do with it?
They live, breathe politics every single day. I think that's a definite advantage for that school. Mm-hmm. During my undergrad, I spent a little time in Washington, D.C. doing kind of a study abroad semester with American University. It was a program that St. Thomas had. So I got to live in D.C., kind of be exposed to the culture. And so when I was looking for a graduate school, I was already familiar with kind of how the city ran and how they view politics, and it was just a natural fit for me.
What were your thoughts on Washington, D.C. in general?
It moves very quickly. Mm-hmm. Just the pace of life out there is noticeably different from the Midwest. People don't really pause to interact with individuals on the street like they do here. And the career element of the culture out there is constant. There are no 9-to-5 jobs. The networking, social element of life is mostly centered around their careers, mm-hmm. which is noticeably different around here. People come home at night, they interact with their neighbors, their community, whereas in DC it's solely centered around their careers.
Mm-hmm. Good observation. That's very interesting. I'm glad that you were there and appreciated it.
Yeah, it was a very different animal out there. The time I was out there was in 2011. We were facing similar things to what we're facing now, the threat of a government shutdown. Actually, it was in that year that the government did shut down, so I got to see that kind of firsthand. Very exciting times under a very different administration, mm-hmm. but it really just kind of rounded out mm-hmm. a well-planned political science curriculum.
Oh, good for you. Just as an aside, last night on Madam Secretary, I noticed those people, they never go home.
Ever.
They never go home. And in fact, one guy's getting a divorce because he's never home. Mm-hmm.
And if they do go home, they're constantly connected to their emails and cell phones and the news.
Even her, she gets called back to the White House every 10 mm-hmm. minutes, it seems, on the show. Yep. Interesting observation. Okay, let's get back to this, what we're here for. Okay, what do you do for a living now?
I work for the Minnesota Realtors. It is the professional trade association representing 18,000 realtors across Minnesota. Most people don't know that that the term realtor is actually a registered trademark. To call yourself a realtor, you have to belong to the National
Now,
Association.
that's all in
of
capital
Realtors.
letters, is that correct?
It's all in capital letters. You'll usually see the little registered trademark symbol behind
Yep.
it. And it's because to call yourself that, you have to pay annual dues to the National Association of Realtors. So to belong to that group, you also belong to your respective state association. And then in Minnesota, we have, I believe, 16 local associations. The one covering our area is the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors, also known as SPAR. So for them, I work in their political affairs department. So working with our members when there's an important issue up at the Capitol related to housing and real estate, getting them up to speed on the issue, getting them to reach out to their elected officials and take action. Around election time, we actively seek to elect pro-real estate, pro-housing candidates to the state legislature.
So you're a lobbyist by trade, is that correct?
I am a lobbyist. I'm a registered lobbyist. I don't spend much time at the Capitol doing specific policy. My busy season comes around election time. But when there are opportunities for our realtors to get involved with policy discussions at the Capitol, we try and get them. My job is to build that bridge between their day-to-day business practices and what's going on at the Capitol, getting them up to speed on the issue, comfortable speaking with their elected officials.
So you're busy right now then, I would reckon, because it's getting close to
Very busy.
crunch time right now.
Very busy. We have our association, we have a number of initiatives and policies that we're seeking this year. We have a very close relationship with the Builders Association of the Twin Cities, and this year we're working on kind of an umbrella package of proposals seeking to advance housing. We call it the Minnesota Homeownership Initiative. So it's kind of this umbrella package that we fit different issues underneath. Some are builder-led policy initiatives, some are realtor-led. We have coalition partners with the Minnesota Bankers Association, Chamber of Commerce might subscribe to one or two of the policies, but people and organizations are allowed to pick and choose what parts of it they want to support, and then when we advocate for it at the Capitol, it's part of this larger initiative for legislators to look through.
So the realtor, and I mean salesmen and that kind of thing in companies, come to you and say, this is coming up at the legislature, and then you go to work. Is that correct?
So our association, we have a number of committees. So our organization is volunteer-led. Everyday realtors from Main Street serve in leadership roles in our organization, and we have a number of committees dealing with different policy areas. So our government affairs committee, made up of realtors, they'll sit in a room before legislative session begins and say, okay, what's impacting our industry? What do we want to see what do we want to see happen in real estate? What do we need to avoid? And they'll craft a legislative agenda for our lobbying team to go and pursue during session.
Okay. So what motivated you to get into Oakdale politics? Was it your background? I mean, really?
Yeah, I've always been interested in politics. I am a very big believer in giving back to the local community, especially for younger people, getting younger people involved early on to have a voice and have an impact in their community. One of my biggest pet peeves in politics is when somebody wants to complain about the way that things are, but they actually never get off the sidelines to make an impact on it, to change it.
You hear it all the time. You hear it all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when I moved to Oakdale about 4 years ago, I reached out to City Hall to see how I could get involved. There was a vacancy on the Oakdale Planning Commission at that time. Working for the realtors and interacting with government, I thought it'd be a natural fit for me to lend some time to the City of Oakdale to see what impact I can make on planning and zoning matters.
Now, okay, we got that property, the 3M property at the north end of Oakdale being developed. Your time on the Planning Commission, how long were you there, 2 years?
2 years. The last year was as chair.
Okay. So I'm going to assume that that's going to help you when we develop that property, correct?
Absolutely. It's, that project will have many different elements. Some things will run through the Planning Commission first, some won't, but my experience on the Planning Commission it'll help me view those issues through a planning and zoning lens. It's a very unique property and a very unique opportunity for our city to take 206 acres that has been sitting there and really develop the last piece in our area. Pioneer Press did a story a few weeks ago. It's one of the largest remaining chunks of land left in the metro area ready for development. So, Oakdale has the prime opportunity to work with our city commissions, whether it's the Economic Development, Environmental Management, Planning Commission, Parks Commission, to create a new identity in that area
Yep,
for a new generation of Oakdale residents.
Sure. Okay, now what are your priorities going to be now that you're on the council?
Well, my priorities are very similar to what they were when I was running for city council. Walkability is a huge issue in Oakdale. I heard a lot outdoor knocking, meeting with residents. We have a great park system and a trail system, but really nothing that connects it together. In a lot of busier neighborhoods where there's a lot more traffic, we need to look at the issue of installing sidewalks to allow people who want to exercise and navigate their neighborhoods to get out of the street. That's a public safety concern as well. We need to provide a dedicated space for them to enjoy our communities while not being in traffic. Another big issue is, for me, is updating our housing stock. We have a lot of communities in Oakdale that Oakdale residents have lived in those homes for 30, 40, 50 years. And as they're considering their changes, whether they want to move, into a smaller home, bigger home, senior housing, we really need to prepare that housing stock to go back on the market. A report from the National Association of Realtors last year said just about 48% of first-time home buyers are willing to spend extra money if a home is turnkey ready. They want to be able to move in without having to make major updates. If we are looking at bringing in a new generation of residents to Oakdale, we need to understand that the housing has to be ready for them.
Okay. We got about 30 seconds left, but I just want to ask one more question.
Yeah.
Now, that same holds true for commercial property, is that correct?
Absolutely.
We got about 30 seconds here. So.
Yeah, we, as a city, we have a good relationship with our Chamber of Commerce and our business community to make sure that the offerings we have for businesses are up to date and ready to go. I know with the 3M property, we are obviously looking at a blend of light commercial and residential. So we will be working very closely with our business partners in the community to really understand what they want to see in that future development.
Okay. Okay, Kevin, now you got a 2-year commitment here, is that right?
I have a 4-year term.
4-year term?
Yep, so.
Ooh. Well, you're biting off a lot, and this is good, but this is what you're here for. So,
well, thank you for having
I think
me.
you're going to do okay. You seem like you come across pretty well, so you've got a general idea what's going on. Although we do have a good council, don't we? I mean,
we have a fantastic council.
Yeah.
I am very fortunate to be coming in with excellent experience on that council, excellent role models to kind of show me the way. The big difference between the Planning Commission and the City Council was there's a lot more material to digest, and they're very helpful.
And everybody gets along. This is good.
Fantastic, yes.
Okay, Kevin, thanks for joining us today on Oakdale Update.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. Each month on our show, we profile a different business in the community. Here's this month's business.
Image 360 is a progressive model for signs, graphics, displays, and print collateral promotional materials. We don't model a traditional print shop or a traditional sign and graphic shop. We're a lot more collaborative and project management oriented. We work very closely with our clients to find solutions that meet their budgets and make use of the space that they have to really showcase their businesses. Today we're working on signage and graphics for a new exercise facility, a new CrossFit facility. We're wrapping a food truck today. Right now we're printing some banners for Health East. We're working on some graphics for the outside of an office building. Every day is different, and that's kind of what makes it fun. Our job is to really make sure that a business gets their message across to their clients, and that they, put their best foot forward, that they can communicate what it is that they do, so that they can, in turn, sell the most products that they have to their clients. So we really view ourselves as part of their marketing team. I think people are always very surprised at the breadth of what we can do and what we can produce here. It's all very different. So if you say I've got this problem and I need a solution to resolve it, we're going to find a way to make that happen.
It's time for a short break. We'll be right back with more of Oakdale Update in just a minute.
You're going to need me. You're going to need all of us. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Did you go tanning? You're getting so tan. We need some sun.
Protect yourself. Protect your friends. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org.
From your first sunrise to the sunset of life, we are with you through life's journey. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. Visit socialsecurity.gov.
This video produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Welcome back to Oakdale Update. I'm now joined by our newest City Council member, Mark Landis. Mark, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay, let's start out. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My wife and I, Chris, moved into Oakdale in 1992. We live in the north end of town, just north of the 3M property. And we've got 2 grown children, recently grandparents.
Oh,
for the
really?
First time.
Good for you.
Little granddaughter, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we're thrilled. And so anyway, we've been there since 1992.
Okay, so you're almost empty nesters. Are you thinking of maybe moving, or what are you thinking of?
Not at this moment, but
Okay.
you know, you never know. But
You're still pretty young, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do for a living?
I've been in the financial services industry as a financial advisor since 1991, so 25 years, and enjoyed every minute of it.
And your education?
I have a BS degree from St. Cloud State University in 1985.
Geez, that's a long time ago.
That's correct, but I still look good.
Yes, you do, darn it. Okay, so now, what is your background with the city?
The background with the city is I signed up in an open application. This will date us a little bit. That was in the paper, looking for people for the Economic Development Commission. And I replied to that and actually did the interview at a council meeting. And
When was that?
1995, I don't know the exact date,
Okay,
but
about
1995.
Sure.
And just went through the process at the council meeting, and they got back to me within a couple of days, and it was on there ever since. And I believe you were on there prior to myself as well.
I beat you by about 10 years.
Yeah, I think so.
I've been on since '85 when it really started.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the starters of it.
Right, the founders.
Founders, one of the founders.
Yeah.
Okay, so and I can see from time I was on until the time you came, how things have so changed. But that's another story for another time. But so you were just a member of the EDC for what? How many years?
Well, so it was 1995 when I got involved, and over the course of time, it just evolved and got a little more involved with it. Part of my reason for getting involved with the economic development is that I just saw the ad, like I mentioned, and I felt I wanted to give something back to society. And I felt that the way to go and do it is just get involved in the community. At that time, if you recall with it, we were about 12,700 people.
Sure.
And the city was just starting to really evolve into what it is today. And so we've seen a tremendous amount of growth, and I just really fell in love being involved with the community.
And isn't it kind of fun being part of the building blocks, part of the starting from scratch and helping and building, isn't it?
It was, I look back at it, it's just been phenomenal. You know, we saw the first stage of Oakdale, and then we've seen what's taken place in the last few years has been phenomenal.
Absolutely. And I'll date myself probably, and I don't know if you were on time, but one of the things that the council would like us to get were fast food restaurants. And everybody we approach says, no, you don't have enough people out there to make it worth our while.
Right.
And now look what we have.
Right.
Okay, but anyway, so eventually you became the chairman of the EDC.
Right.
That's about how long ago now, would you say?
I just thinking back on it, it's been about 15 years. Hard to believe.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah.
God,
It's just,
how time flies.
but we've had such a great group of people, though.
Yeah.
I mean, just dedicated people that are, really willing to give back to the community. It's just been phenomenal.
Tell us about the EDC people. I mean, what's. Okay, go ahead. Tell us about that.
We've had people. One of the main things is that they live in the community or they're part of the business community, and have been involved with so many different projects, and they give so much time and talent into making the city better as far as retaining it and attracting and keeping people in this community from a business standpoint. And the chamber has changed dramatically, which has been an influential part of the EDC.
You bet.
That's where we've gotten a number of the people that have gotten involved. But I can't say enough great things about it. I mean, we've just seen so many positive things that have happened through the economic development and other commissions, which the city has had, very, very dedicated people to come and be involved with.
On our EDC commission, pretty much local business leaders is how I describe it. Wouldn't you?
That's correct.
Wouldn't you
That's
say
correct.
that?
Yes.
Which really helps in the terms of Economic Development Commission.
Right. They're there. They're in it every single day. They understand what's going on. They've been able to come back to the city and the council and ask them, and say, here are the things that we see that we need to go and do to attract and retain businesses here. And it's worked. I mean, there have been a great success stories, as I've said with it, and we've really brought in some great companies.
Yes, we have. Now, one of the things that, and I think you got started on this, where you go out and visit with existing businesses.
Correct.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. The business retention visits were part of a process where we would go out to businesses to just really bring some people from the council, others from the Economic Development Commission, but primarily Bob Streeter and I would go and just meet with business owners to find out what concerns they had.
Bob Streeter is
our Community Development Director.
Okay.
And Linnea Grindahoffer-Bartels. They're just wonderful people. They're in the community. They understand what's going on. And we've really done a lot of great things with that and built the biggest part about what we found was that when we found a business was going to be leaving, it was way too long.
Yes.
This way we were able to be there on the front end of it. We've been able to do a number of different things to go and keep them, find out what their concerns were. Right now it's a huge job issue with being able to find people that want to go and work, and that's part of the retention component of it right there. So it's been very, very positively received on both sides.
I can't think of an example off the top of my head of something that you went to somebody. Didn't they say, well, they told you what the problems that they were having other than the employment, but there was some problem that the city could resolve. I shouldn't even bring it up because I can't remember the details on it.
Well, I can just probably go and say a couple different things. There's some things that where a business owner just has an issue with some of their building facility that needs something and they just need to get some financing. That's been one way we can go in there and bring in some, help with them to go and offer some low-cost loans and so on. If anybody is ever interested, I would say just go and look at the Oakdale website, and there are loan programs on there. If not, I would say communicate with Bob Streeter or Linnea, and they will be more than happy to communicate with them and try to help them.
And that
at
includes loans on houses too, housing
That's
stock,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
Try and upgrade, if you want to upgrade your property.
That's correct.
We've got money for it.
That's correct.
That should be utilized.
Correct.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're on the council. How
Yes.
did you get on the council? How did this come about?
Well, two things. Number one, I had ran earlier in this previous election and lost, and that's how it works. But Kristen Cece has recently moved out of the city, and I wish her the best of luck to she and her family. And so with her moving out of the city, that needed to have an appointment to go and fulfill her seat, which will be a little over 2 years, and then they'll be doing a special election to fulfill that part there.
Now, do you not think that your time on the EDC is going to be very beneficial for your time on the council?
I would hope so. We've got a lot of great things going on in the city right now that really tie in with economic development. A lot of building projects and other organizations and meeting companies and so on that are looking to relocate. The Slumberland property is a huge opportunity there, along with 3M, the property there for the housing and so on. So I think, everything put together, I would hope that I would be able to bring something to the table that would help.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there. While being with you on the EDC, you spend an awful lot of time, off hours, if you will. I mean, you take your EDC job very seriously. So I'm assuming that you're going to do the same with the council. Which brings me to the last question: what are your goals on the council?
I think we've got the comprehensive plan that is going to be starting here shortly. Will direct which way that the citizens and the community want Oakdale to go and look at. So that'll be one of the guiding blocks of it right there. But I look at it that economic development is a huge component of it right there, retaining and attracting businesses. The 3M property, which is a huge opportunity for the city of Oakdale and the community itself to build something that is going to just be beautiful. The marketplace on the south side of Slumberland 14 with Target McDonald's and so on is right there. I think Tanner's Lake is going to be a huge opportunity. Revitalization of neighborhoods. Neighborhood Watch is a huge opportunity for us as well to make safe cities. And I think also the involvement with the school system is extremely important because it all works together.
Sure.
A good community, a good community as far as homeowners, businesses, and everything that works together. So I think we've got to build a great big harmony with each other and just keep continuing to do what we've been doing in the city and just keep it getting better and better.
Mm-hmm. And I think, as you saw when we talked to Kevin before, redevelopment of the older stock and the commercial properties, probably top priority, correct?
Yes, I think we need to go and continue to go and do that. Oakdale's been around for a long time, and again, you got to keep things being fresh.
Yes.
Just like you go. I know Kevin mentioned housing. Housing stock is extremely important.
Yep.
You got to have that keep going, and I think we just need to be able to listen to what the people in the community are wanting, within reason, and keep everything within a financially responsible budget to continue to do the right things.
Okay. All right. We are out of time.
Good deal.
But I want to thank you for joining us today, and good luck to you. What do you got, a 2-year run?
Yes.
2 years.
Yeah, a little over
and
2.
then you're going to be up for re-election, correct? You'll finish off Sissy's appointment, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Well, good luck to you, and
Thank
I know we got a good man here. I know you. I've known you for 20 years, 25 years at least, so I trust you.
I thank you.
You do well.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You bet. We're just about out of time, but first, here's some upcoming events. Safe Summer Nights takes place on June 6th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Walton Park. Join the Oakdale Police Department and your neighbors for a fun and safe evening in your community. Free food and refreshments will be provided. The Farmers Market opens on June 7th. The Farmers Market takes place every Wednesday, June 7th through October 4th, from 2 to 6 p.m. in the parking lot near the City Hall. It's a great place to pick up a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables and so much more. June 7th is also the first night of the summer concert series at the Walton Park Band Shell. Country band Darlene and the Boys plays at 7 p.m. on June 7th. Another great event in June is the Community Picnic, which is sponsored by the Oakdale Area Chamber of Commerce and the City of Oakdale. This takes place on June 15th from 11 to 1 at the North Fire Station. Free food and entertainment, plus the chance to visit with your neighbors. The annual Summerfest celebration is set for June 22nd to the 24th at Walton Park. There will be a parade on June 22nd and fireworks on the 24th. Free concerts all 3 nights too. More information is available on the city's website. And finally, watch for the opening of Oakdale's Off-Leash Dog Park in June. The 4.6-acre dog park will be located on 50th Street between Helena Road and Heather Ridge Road. That's all we have time for this month on Oakdale Update. For everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching. We leave you this time with some highlights from the mystery egg hunt that was held the day before Easter at the Discovery Center.